Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. This week we are looking at some portraits of Jesus, titles we have given to Jesus that help us see Jesus and what he has done for us in different perspectives. Today we will look at Jesus, the cornerstone, the friend, and the Lamb of God. Cornerstone. The key word was depends. It's not so important with modern construction methods now, but years ago, when a building was built, the cornerstone was the most important part of the building. If the building were going to stand, it needed one large, strong stone that served as a foundation stone, and everything radiates from there. The right way to say it, everything depends from there. And nothing could be more true about Jesus. Jesus is our foundation. Everything we are, everything we hope to become radiates from him. It all depends on him and his love for us. Giving Jesus the title of Cornerstone is one of the most fitting titles we can accord him. When Solomon built God's temple in Jerusalem, the plateau on top of the mountain wasn't big enough for the space the temple required. So the Israelites constructed a large corner piece of heavy masonry that reached up from the plunging valley below. To an observer, it would seem as though the corner piece was holding up the temple. My friends, in our lives, that's just what Jesus does for us. Friend. It's one of the most famous stories to come out of World War I. In the heat of battle one day, a soldier in the trenches saw his friend wounded out in no man's land, that ground between his trench and the trench of the enemy. The man ran to his commanding officer. "Sir," he said, "may I go out and bring him in?" But the officer refused, saying, "No one can live out there, and if you go, I will only lose you as well." Disobeying the officer, the man went for his friend. Somehow he managed to reach him, get him up on his shoulder, and stagger back to the trench, only to fall in mortally wounded himself, just feet from safety. The officer shouted, "I told you not to go. Now I have lost 2 good men. It was not worth it." With his dying breath, the man said, "It was worth it, sir. Because when I got to him, he said, 'Jim, I knew you'd come.'" In the no man's land of our lives, we so need a friend. In the hopelessness, the lost hopelessness we so often feel, we need a friend. In the empty loneliness of life, we need a friend. In our despair, in our wounded hurt, we need a friend. In our lives when we don't know what to do or where to turn, we need a friend. In Jesus, we have someone, the friend we need. In trust, we knew he would come. Lamb of God. Perhaps one of the most significant titles we give to Jesus is Lamb of God. In fact, that's one of my favorite parts of our worship. Just after we have consecrated the elements of communion and we sing, "Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world. Have mercy on us." And that song connects to Abraham and Isaac as they traveled up Mount Moriah. Abraham intent on sacrificing this, his only child, to show God the depth of his devotion. And on the way up that mountain, Isaac asked, "Father, I see the fire and the wood for the offering, but where is the sacrifice?" And Abraham, knowing that God had provided Isaac, simply said, "God himself will provide the lamb for the sacrifice, my son." And God did. Later on, it happened with Moses and the Hebrew people. They were slaves in Egypt, but God sent Moses to lead them to freedom. The Hebrews were told to kill a lamb, put some blood on the doorposts and lintel of their houses, and the angel of death would skip or pass over those homes. But at the houses not marked with the blood, the firstborn would die. After that, Pharaoh let them go. And when they had passed through the waters of the Red Sea, finally they were safe. It's not hard to picture many of them that night staring back over the water and thinking about what had happened and how they were saved by a lamb had been sacrificed to mark their salvation. Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world. Have mercy on us. Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world. Have mercy on us. Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world. Grant us peace. God has provided the lamb for the sacrifice, and we are saved. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.